It is no secret that in Pokemon Go PvP, IVs kinda matter. Your perfect hundo Pokemon isn't gonna fly as high as a low attack stat Pokemon will in the Great League and in the Ultra League. So what's up with that? Well, in this video, I'm going to go over the basics of PvP IVs with you. I'm going to teach you why they matter, and I'm also going to let you know why you shouldn't really stress out about them. Basically, PvP IVs, you should be aware of the concepts, but yeah, don't freak out about having the rank 1 or anything like that. Let's get into the basics here. So low attack stat, why does that matter? Well, in the Great League and in the Ultra League, your Pokemon is limited by their CP. As far as the CP formula goes, attack stat has a higher weight than defense and HP do. Therefore, if your Pokemon has lower attack, you can have higher defense and HP. Now, as far as a straight duke out goes in PvP, your attack stat collides with their defense stat, and then their attack stat collides with your defense stat, and then after that, you're left with your HP. And whoever has the most remaining whatever from all that is very likely going to be the winner. Let me illustrate it for you here. So let's say you got your attack stat, right? You got your attack, your defense, and your HP. And your opponent has their attack, their defense, and their HP. Now let's say you have twice the attack stat of your opponent, but because of the CP cap, you can't bring up your defense or HP anymore. Then as far as your opponent goes, let's say they have half the attack stat of you, and because of the CP cap, they now get to have twice the defense and twice the HP. Now when you go into the full-on duke out, your attack stat collides with their defense stat, and their attack stat collides with your defense stat. And your HP and their HP is all that's left over. Who is the winner? That looks so bad. Who is the winner? But the person that had more stats than you. Now this isn't the end all be all. If it was, then the 0-15-15 would absolutely be the way to go. However, in Pokemon Go, there's this thing called breakpoints. Basically, your attack stat has to meet a certain threshold to deal 1 more damage or 1 less damage to your opponent, versus their defense stat. So having high defense can help protect you from breakpoints, having high attack can help you reach breakpoints. But the base idea here is that your attack, your defense, and your HP, them being higher or lower, only matters when it matters, which means there's a good possibility that there are a bunch of empty stats that aren't really being utilized when it comes to your higher rank Pokemon. To complicate things even more, about a month ago, Pokemon Go had an update where a higher attack stat Pokemon will get charge move priority in a fight. Basically, when you throw a charge move and your opponent throws a charge move, at the same exact time, one of you gets to land their charge move first. And the Pokemon that does that is the one with the higher attack stat. So when it comes to balancing out your Pokemon, sometimes having a higher attack stat can help you out. However, at the end of the day, trying to figure out CMP, charge move priority, is a little bit more complicated than just going with a high bulk Pokemon, and the general rule of thumb is that the higher bulk Pokemon will be the better Pokemon against the vast sea of possible opponents. Let's go through some examples and see just how important that is. So here we got gostadium.club/PvP/IV, which is the best tool out there to find out the PvP IVs and the rank of your Pokemon. And Pokemon we're going to take a look at is Azumarill. So we got Azumarill here, and let's say you've got the Hundo, the 15-15-15 Azumarill. How does that shape up? Well, it ends up being the rank 244. How does that compare to the rank 1? Well, you can see that you're capping off at level 36, they're capping at level 40, which, mind you, that is a Stardust investment. The difference in your stats, though, you have about a 2.5 higher attack stat, but they have about a 3.5-ish, basically 4 defense stat, and they have 5 more HP than you do. How much does this defense, this attack, and this HP actually matter in practice? Well, here we got PvPoke, and PvPoke is like the ultimate resource for PvP simulations and PvP anything, to be honest, so get familiar with this website if you want to get good at PvP. So let's check out Azumarill here. And we'll use the bread and butter Ice Beam Play Rough set, and we're going to check out our 15-15-15 champion. And we're going to use the multi-battle feature, and we're going to bring it up against all Pokemon. And we're going to have these Pokemon be the rank 1s, the max bulk Omega God Pokemon. in the 1 shield situation. You can see that we are winning 331 times. That's pretty impressive. Now, let's switch it up and go for the rank 1. So they got a maximize feature here. You just push it, gives you the rank 1. The 8, 15, 15. How much is the gap? So they're getting 343. Now you can check the previous Azumarill here. 331 versus 343. That's 12 more wins over our Azumarill. So that's pretty significant, right? But getting the 8, 15, 15 is pretty complicated. You can't hatch that IV spread. You can't catch that IV spread in a raid. You have to trade for it or find it in the wild, and this is like 1 out of like a couple thousand. I don't know the exact number, but getting this spread is pretty dang rare. Let's say our Pokemon wasn't this, but it was a Pokemon that we could catch from a raid or hatch from an egg, right? Let's say we have the 10, 14, 15. Well, viewing those stats, we are now the rank 12. As far as the difference between the rank 1 goes, we're just 1 stamina off. We're about 2 defense off, but we have 1 higher attack stat, which is nice for the mirror because we get the charge move priority there, right? How does this reasonably obtained Azumarill stacking up against the Master? So we have 341 wins, which is 2 less wins than the rank 1. Now, I will tell you that this is out of like over 400 matchups. Only 2 out of 400, right? But for the purposes of this video, I wanted to investigate what was going on here. What are the 2 losses? So basically I compared the 2 sets side by side to find the dirty dogs that were taken down, our easily obtained reasonable Azumarill. And what I found was that the perpetrators were Ampharos and Wigglytuff. These 2 guys. So the rank 1 was beating these. We're now losing to them. So what's going on here? Well, you can click on the eyeball button here. It'll show you the exact matchup. And against the Azumarill, you'll see that we basically reach the Ice Beam, but we're not able to throw it. But we threw the higher energy cost Play Rough, and we're like basically at the end of the fight here. We're about to beat them, right? Well, what if we just threw Ice Beams instead? Oh dang, we just won that matchup. We just beat that Wigglytuff with our lower rank Azumarill. So this is just an example of how the simulator can be a little bit, iffy sometimes. Throwing the higher damage per energy attack is usually the best idea, but in this specific case, using the lower energy cost charge move is what you need to do to get the win. Now, how about the case of Ampharos here? I mean, I've never seen an Ampharos in PvP before. Ampharos is one of my favorite Pokemon, so I should probably build one sometime just for the memes. But yeah, no, you can see we're losing by 1 hit point. They're surviving our attack by 1 HP. And this is a situation where you can't get back-to-back Ice Beam. You have to throw the Play Rough in order to win, right? But this is only 1 HP. And this is up against the rank 1 Ampharos. What if this Ampharos was thrifting by 1 HP? Or by any sort of rank that would cause it to have less than a 130 stamina stat? We just won that fight. We just won that fight. So as you can tell, having the rank 1 isn't the most important thing ever. But I bet you're sitting at home wondering, well, Ryan Swag, what kind of Azumarill do you have? What Azumarill does a Swagman have rolling? My Azumarill, my personal Swagman Azumarill, is the 13-4-15. So high attack, low defense, high HP. And if you check out its rank here, you can see that it is the rank 593. Super low rank. I'm only gaining about 3.5 on my attack. I dropped 9 on my defense, and I dropped 1 on my stamina. Stamina loss wasn't that bad. And if you check it out on PvPoke here, so the 13-4-15, 39.5, 335 wins, which is 6 less than the other Azumarill. And I will tell you, other facts about this Azumarill, Altaria actually gets a breakpoint on this Azumarill. It's able to do 2 damage with its spammy Dragon Breath instead of 1, which is pretty significant. And as far as Azumarill versus Azumarill goes, opposing Azumarill actually get a breakpoint on me, doing more bubble damage to me than I do to them, because you can stack defense faster than you can stack your attack stat. So why am I, Ryan Swag, going with this garbage Azumarill? Is there some secret attack breakpoint that's going on here that we just can't see? Specific matchup, specific shield situation? Like, what's going on, Ryan Swag? Why are you running with this whack Azumarill? Well, sometimes the simplest answer is the correct one. And the reason why I have this Azumarill powered up is because prior to GoFest, they had the GoFest PvP tournaments going on, and I didn't have an Azumarill built yet. and I was very low on Stardust. And this was my highest level Azumarill that I had that got close to 1500 CP, right? That I could reasonably power up and build for this particular tournament. It's all I had, and I needed it to perform in PvP, so I went with it, despite possible better judgment. And what was the result? Well, you can check out my video, linked up above. I won. I beat all my opponents, I got my gold medal, and yeah, my rank butt Azumarill beat out the rest. What I'm trying to get across to you guys is that having the rank 1 Omega low attack, high defense, high HP Pokemon isn't the end all be all. It isn't the most important thing ever. However, I do want you to know that following that trend of trying to have a lower attack stat Pokemon with higher HP and higher defense is generally the best way to go. However, above all else, above these two concepts, more so than anything, is the matchup. And at the end of the day, Azumarill is still an Azumarill, no matter what the IV spread on the Azumarill. And if you want an Azumarill, power up an Azumarill and it'll do Azumarill things. Just make sure your Pokemon doesn't power up to like 1476 or something. Just cross 1480 and your Pokemon will be fine for its matchups. And if you want to be like me, cursed with the knowledge of IVs and breakpoints and all that stuff, you can go hard on PvP. And you can get in depth with the breakpoints, which is pretty intricate. But at the end of the day, your Pokemon's matchups and your Pokemon just being the Pokemon it is with the right moveset and everything, that's going to be much more important than what your IVs will ever be in Pokemon Go. Now I bet you're sitting at home thinking, okay Ryan Swag, that's Azumarill. Azumarill is one of the best Pokemon in all of PvP, and of course like the intricate differences between your 8 attack stats and like a 10 attack stat, obviously that's not that big of a deal, right? What about other Pokemon? Well, let's talk about Scrafty. So I have a Scrafty, and my Scrafty is an 11-15-15. You can see here on the result that it is the rank 471 Scrafty, like far below the rank 1 Scrafty. But what's kind of cute about this one is that as far as raid hatch research goes, it is the rank 1 Scrafty, right? As far as that is concerned. So I think that's pretty cool about Scrafty. And actually, if you really think about it, you can't get a 0 attack IV on a Scrafty. You can only get, a better Scrafty through trading. So that means it has a floor of 1. And if you check it out that way, I got the rank 334 Scrafty. So not that bad of a Scrafty, right? But there is still the rank 1 Scrafty, right? And I'm beneath it. You can see that I got a 3 higher attack stat, but I got a 5 lower defense and 3 lower stamina, which is pretty huge. Well, how does Scrafty, my research caught type Pokemon, compare to the GOAT? So we got Scrafty. We're going to maximize it to the rank 1. And this is like beyond the rank 1 because you can't even get this Scrafty. It's the 0815. Where are you going to get this Scrafty from? You can't trade for it. At any rate, let's see how it does against the Masters. And you can see that it pulls 353 wins. Pretty good. But what about my Scrafty? 355. Oh my gosh. That is 2 more wins than the previous Scrafty. In fact, we're also picking up some more draws too. So we actually have 4 less losses overall compared to the rank 1 Scrafty. So, as you can tell, there are situations where significantly lower ranked Pokemon, the 334, or in the case of this theoretical rank 1 Scrafty, the 471 is better than the rank 1. Now you might be sitting at home going, well Ryan Swag, it had the 8 defense IV. Yes, but because it has 4 more power-ups than me, it actually has more defense even though I have a higher defense IV. That's how the power-ups end up going. Higher attack stat is always going to hold you back from having higher defense and stamina, no matter how you cut it. But at the end of the day, because of how the matchups flow for Scrafty, my rank 471 Scrafty is better than the rank 1 Scrafty. So there you have it, guys. PvP IVs explained. I hope I made this simple for you. The basic concept, once again, that I want to get across is that being aware of the trends, having a lower attack stat, having a higher defense, higher HP stat, is good. That is the general goodness. But it is not the end-all be-all for these Pokemon. At the end of the day, a super low-ranked Pokemon can still get the matchups done that it needs to get done, and in some cases can be even better than the rank 1 Pokemon is. So as far as preparing Pokemon for PvP is concerned, don't stress out too much about the IVs. If you're curious about the Master League, you basically want to have the hundos there because there's no cap on your stats, so you may as well get all the stats that you can. But just like in the Great League and the Ultra League, there are empty attack stats, empty defense stats, empty HP stats. Having the hundo only matters like when it matters, and often that might not come up, so you can still thrift a little bit in the Master League too. If you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, maybe you want to know about the Great League, Ultra League, and Master League metas simplified, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. Let's say we have the 10, 14, 15. Now if you view these stats, you can see it's actually the what the hell? Oh, that's not 14.